G'day virtual pilots, it's Requiem. Today's video we're going to have a look at the Bristol Fighter. So starting off, we're going to have a look behind us here, and we're going to see a cranky looking guy with a mustache. This is your rear gunner, so you press Control C and you'll take him over, and then you've got the weapon here. So you can pick it up pressing T, Shift T will bring up the iron sight, left mouse button's going to fire, and then we can put it down, and then we'll press Control C and we'll go back to control the pilot and look at the cockpit. So starting off on the top of the wing, you have the magnetic compass, and then just to the left of the seat, if you have the extra fuel gauge installed, this is where it's located on the auxiliary fuel tank. There's your mixture control and the spark advance control, fuel pressure air pump, and the fuel tank air pressure system. Looking at the front of the instrument panel, this is where the photo would be if you're using it. You have your oil pressure gauge, air pressure gauge, and the airspeed indicator in miles per hour. Just trying to maneuver around a little bit here. And there's the fuel tank selector, and then just above those you've got some bomb sight and engine placards along with an inclinometer. On the right side of the panel, here's our clock, altimeter in feet, the tachometer, and then our other fuel gauge. To the right of that, you've got your water radiator temperature, as well as the water radiator control. So you'd move forward to open the water radiator, and then pulling it back will close it up. Underneath on the floor here, this is your negative lens bomb sight, but you can also use the V key to access the in-game bomb sight. There's your elevator trim. It's nose up and then nose down. And your throttle. So starting these engines is pretty simple. All we have to do is put the mixture to full rich. So we do that. You can open up the water radiator all the way. Then we can crack the throttle about an inch or two. And press E to start the engine. Alright, so the engine's now started. We can look at the pilot's notes for the Bristol Fighter. Alright, so now the engine's running, we're going to get ready for taxi. So if you like, you can lean out the mixture just a little bit, and then in order to get rolling, we'll increase the throttle to just above 1000 RPM. That'll give you enough power to start rolling, and then once you are rolling and you're comfortable with the speed you're at, you can bring the throttle back down, and you'll still be able to keep moving. So we're just using the rudder to stay straight as needed, and then we'll make a left turn onto the field, and then we'll get ready for takeoff. So we give the left rudder, try and get ourselves lined up with a point on the horizon there where we're not going to hit anything. And we can start adding full power and start rolling. At the same time, add a bit of forward pressure, get the tail off the ground. You're not going to have much of a takeoff roll. Add some back pressure, and then we rotate and get airborne. The airplane will accelerate to about 70 to 75 miles per hour, and that's about where we're going to stay during this pattern. If you didn't want to have your eyes inside monitoring the speed, you can just line up the bottom of the windscreen with the horizon, and that'll give you approximately your climb speed as well. So looking behind us here, he still doesn't look very happy, but we're going to make the left turn and continue in the pattern, and then we'll look at how to quickly land the Bristol Fighter. So getting ready for landing in the Bristol. On downwind, you bring the throttle back to 1400 RPM, and this will give you an airspeed of about 70 miles per hour if you're maintaining altitude. You can use the elevator trim as required, and the water radiator, you're going to close that up to prevent the engine overcooling because of your lower power setting. By the end of downwind, you're going to bring the throttle back to idle, and we'll begin a base to final turn between 65 and 70 miles per hour. Alright, so we're about the pattern altitude we want to be as we roll out on downwind and get that radiator closed up. RPM is good, our airspeed is good. So then we're just going to maintain altitude and position until we reach a beam at touchdown point. You can have a quick look out to the left just to verify where we are. So we're getting pretty close. And it's going to be about there. So from here we'll bring the power back to idle, and then we'll begin our base to final turn. So I'll lower the nodes here to keep myself around 65 to 70 miles per hour on the base to final turn. I'm trying to visualize where my aiming point is in this turn, so I have to adjust this base to final turn appropriately. So if my aiming point is like further down the runway, that means I'm too high, so I need to extend my turn a little bit. But if the aiming point is in front of the runway, it means I'm going to fall short, so I need to shorten my turn to the runway here. So right now it seems like my aiming point is around about where that road is, so this looks pretty decent. Just keep it coming down. Okay, now I can start straightening it out a little bit as I'm crossing over here. Bring the wings to level. I'm going to bring it close to the ground, bleed off the speed and hold it up in a 3-point attitude. As we touch down, I'm going to hold full back pressure, using the rudder to keep the airplane straight. There's no need to add power to keep it straight in the Bristol. Then you can let yourself decelerate and make a turn off the field and be done. That completes the tutorial on how to fly the Bristol Fighter. If you enjoyed it, be sure to share with your friends and become a subscriber, and don't forget to use that notifications icon, that way you know when new videos are posted. And as always, don't forget to fly safe and check 6.